Hello everybody, welcome back to Creating Hanley. Both my cats say hello. Bella and Sabrina, they say hello. Today happens to be Global Cat Day, and there they are playing. Yeah, okay. They were just playing, guys. Don't you worry about it. They're doing all right. They don't hurt each other. Anyway, I digress. I am Kimberly. Welcome to Creating Hanley. And behind me, besides the cats, is this project going on right here. So what you see is, let's see if I can get most of them in the picture here. What you see are these scrappy strips, crumbs, something like that, attached to the dryer sheets. So let me see if I can hold this camera a little bit more steady. I don't know if I can, but these right here, these are the scrappy strips attached to the dryer sheet. So that's that. And then these are the shreds, and I did several videos on these. These are the shreds attached to the interfacing, the fusible interfacing, and I did several videos on these. I called them trash bin shreds or bird's nest or scrappy crumb shreds, something along those lines. Anyway, we are putting these together in this. I decided I'm just going to do this layout. So I have 20 of these, and woo, almost lost the camera, guys. Let's put this down. And 10 of the shreds. So I have 10 of these and 20 of these. And so I'm just going to put them together. And the way I'm going to do that, how I'm going to join them, and I made a little template here. I just put some pins in the side here, and how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to sew them together, just like so. So I figure there's a couple of different ways that we can join these. We can put sashing in between each one. Now if I do that, it may take away from the pattern, from the diamond pattern. So you can see here, there's a diamond pattern. So if I put this back, if I put sashing in between here, it's gonna break up. So see, if I put space in here, it's gonna break up that pattern, and even though you can still see it, it's not gonna be exactly the same. So I kind of wanted the whole, and what color do I choose anyway? Do I choose yellow, white, orange, any of these colors, black, gray? What do I do? So I'm just gonna put these together, just join them together, just like so, without any sashing in between. So let's take you over to the machine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sew them in rows. So here I kind of put like two columns together, columns. So I guess columns. So I'm just gonna sew them in columns, not in rows. I'm gonna sew them like this. So I'm going to put right sides together, like so. So here, open that up, put right side together, so there, right? You get it. Okay. So I'm going to keep that pattern. I like that pattern. What am I going to do with this big sheet of fabric after I get it all together? I'm not really sure. I don't know. But you can cut it up because now it's a big, piece of fabric. And you could cut it up again and use it for something else. So you could actually put this into, you can make a tote bag if you wanted to. In fact, that's probably not a bad idea. If I separate that into that, this could be one side and this is the other. That's actually not a bad idea. Now I have to think about it. Anyway, let's just start by putting these together. So let's take you to the surface where I sew. I'm just going to take two pieces right here and right sides together. I'm sewing on this line here, so I want to make sure that I line up this edge pretty well. Now, as far as your seam allowance, you could use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and that'll probably be the smartest thing to do, because if you go much smaller to 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, you may miss some fabric. So it's up to you what you want to do. I am going to use an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance just because I want to get the majority of the fabric as noticeable as possible. So that means I have to be very careful on my seams and make sure I get them, get the fabric caught on both sides. Now let's open this up. And there we go. And there's a new little piece of fabric right there. Okay, I'm going to do that for this row, and then we're going to call it good, because you already know how to sew. Okay, let me show you what I'm doing. So I know I'm not getting myself mixed up, because this fabric is a directional. It has some words on it, and so I know that this went on the bottom. Okay, so then I'm just going to take this piece and flip it right side, and I'm going to sew right along this edge here. Let's take it back to the machine, and I'm using the same 1/8 of an inch seam allowance the entire way. Now, if you have found that your pieces may have become a little ragged because you were storing them for so long, you might want to clean up the edges. So give it a little trim on the edges if they become, a little bit wonky or ragged. These squares are 6 by 4 inches, 6 inches by 4 inches. So they are directional because of that. Wow, this piece looks like I didn't do a very good job lining that up. Okay. No back stitch there. And then you open this up, and here we go. We're off to the races. Now, why does that look crooked? That one definitely looks crooked, doesn't it? Oh boy, guys, this is going to be quite a project. It's looking crooked already. I swear, I don't know how I managed to do such things. Okay. I see. This is going to be problematic, the entire project. Okay. It's going to be problematic, the entire project. For me. Probably not for you, but... So maybe a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance is better than an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, because with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, you have some wiggle room. You have a little bit of room to make mistakes. So here we go. We're getting somewhere. All right, and now one more. This one goes at the top. This one goes right here. Okay. All right, back stitch to lock it down, and here we go. So here's one column. So that's nice little zigzag motif. So I'm going to do that for the rest of these. And then you attach the sides the same way. So you attach your whole row like there, or your whole column like this. And then once you get 2 columns, you attach them right sides together. So along the sides using the same seam allowance. And then put the whole thing together. So we're going to stop this video right here because I don't want it to get too long. But just know that these are the scrappy, crummy strips, like crummy scrap strips that I sewed onto the dryer sheet. And then these pieces are the shreds from the interfacing, the fusible interfacing. And I'm going to attach these the same way. So each one, they attach one right under the other. Even though, so because they're kind of wonky and shreddy, you might want to clean up the edges and then attach them the same way you did this. So you could try that. All right, guys. And that is it for this video. And what you do with that big sheet of fabric is you just created new fabric. So you can do whatever you want with it. It becomes a new project. So I actually may split that in half, put the yellow on one side and then the orange on the other, and then make a tote bag, because here in Pittsburgh, we have gone to not using like the single-use plastic bag ban. We're not allowed to use single-use plastic bags in some grocery stores. So in some retail stores. So making these bags might come in very handy. So I'm going to have to rethink this whole project. But in the meantime, I can at least sew these 3 columns together and these 3 columns together. And then once you have those together, then you sandwich them, fold them, and then sew. And this could be a wall hanging, it could be a picture. Yeah, you could do whatever you can make a bag or a tote bag, or put even more together and have a much bigger project and put it into a quilt top. Yeah, so, or make it a pet bed. This would be a okay pet bed. I would just do a lot of quilting on the top of it, because, even though I quilted these shreds really well, you can see on the back, they're quilted very well, and each strip has been sewn down. If you make it a pet bed or anything that might get heavy use, like a tote bag or a grocery bag, or even a quilt top or a blanket top, it's going to get heavy use. And when you put it through the washing machine will, tear up some of the fabric, especially these shreds. So when they all dance around in there. So you just want to make sure that you quilt the top very well. So a lot of stitching goes over the top to hold all that fabric in place. All right, guys, that is it for now. Enough talking. I hope you enjoy making this, and in the comments section, tell me what you make with your fabric, with your new fabric. I want to hear. All right, have a great project, episode, journey. I hate that saying journey. Just have fun making this. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.